What's up guys, Toyhouze here, and today we're going to talk about investments for Phase 2. Things you can buy right now, and then when Phase 2 comes out, you can sell for way more than what you paid for in Phase 1. So with that said, let's begin. Now, Phase 2 is going to bring us Serpent Shrine Cavern as well as Tempest Keep, also known as the Eye. Now, there's going to be a few bosses that are going to require certain gear, certain resistance potions, and so we're going to talk about some of those right now. So we can start with Serpent Shrine Cavern, and one of the first bosses, in fact the first boss, is actually Hydross the Unstable. Now Hydross the Unstable is going to require players to have all sorts of different types of consumables, one of those being frost and nature resistance set and consumables. So you can definitely think that certain materials to create these are going to go up in value. So things like Primal Fire and Primal Water, as well as Felsteel bars, are all needed in order to create the Iceguard set. This is going to provide the frost resistance needed for Hydross. Now, Hydross the Unstable in his water form is going to do 5.5k frost damage base as a melee attack. This cannot be blocked, and so tanks are going to want to be creating this Iceguard set, right? And so once again, you'll need Primal Fire, Primal Water, and Felsteel bars in order to create that. Now, also, Hydross the Unstable does put a debuff, a raid-wide debuff, which is called Mark of Hydross, on a 15-second cooldown, which stacks up to 6 times, increasing frost damage taken by increasing percentages, and it refreshes on each application, right? So there's also Water Tomb, which is a single target 8-yard AoE cast every 6 seconds, which stuns all affected players for 4 seconds and deals 4,500 frost damage over 5 seconds. So you're definitely going to want major frost resistance potions. These are going to be very helpful for that single target, hopefully being the only person getting hit by it. And so in order to craft these major frost protection potions, you are going to need primal waters. Now, you can also create these cauldrons, right? Alchemists, that is, can create these cauldrons. They discover this recipe, and in order to create these cauldrons, which raid members can use to conjure these major protection potions, such as major frost protection potion, it'll require 2 primal water in the case of the frost protection. It will take 7 mana thistle and a fell iron casing. So keep that in mind as well if you are looking to capitalize on this. And of course, Hydross does also have a poison form. Now this is where he switches over to nature damage, right? So the melee will do 5k nature damage base, and that also cannot be blocked. And he's going to be immune to nature damage, by the way, so that could be tricky for shaman. It also is going to do basically the exact same thing. Instead of Mark of Hydross, it's going to be called Mark of Corruption, which is going to increase nature damage taken, as well as Vile Sludge, which is a single target debuff, which does 4k nature damage over 24 seconds, reduces healing and damage done by 50%. Pretty nasty, right? Quite vile, that Vile Sludge. So you're also going to want some major nature resistance potions, and so things like Primal Life are going to certainly go up in value, in my opinion. And if your server is anything like mine, Primal Life is probably the cheapest primal that you can get your hands on right now. So I think probably the best margin, the best investment for Phase 2 is probably Primal Life, from what I can tell. So you'll definitely be wanting to get Primal Life as you in Phase 1. Try to stock up on those as much as possible. And as well as the Wild Guard set. Now this is a plate nature resistance set that I'm sure that the tanks will want to be wearing because of that melee attack. In order to create the Wild Guard set, you will need Primal Life, Primal Shadow, and Felsteel bars once again. So you can see Felsteel bars are a common theme here. I think this will be probably another really important investment, or an item that will definitely go up in value in Phase 2. So also keep that in mind. And when we go on to the next section, you're going to see why it might be even better than you think. There's also new patterns that drop in Serpent Shrine Cavern and Tempest Keep, things like the Belt of Blasting, the Belt of the Guardian, the Boots of the Protector, Hurricane Boots, and Red Havoc Boots, as well as Monsoon Belt. All of these items require primals, so as you could probably guess, primals are going to be an excellent investment going into Phase 2. Now, I do want to talk about flasks. I saw online that people think, okay, flasks are going to go up in value because raids are going to be harder in phase 2, and people are going to want, to create more flasks, buy more flasks, and so certain herbalism materials will go up in value. I actually disagree with this because in phase 2, Shattrath flasks become available. Yes, I think many people forgot about this. Players can obtain Mark of the Illidari that can be exchanged for flasks, which are literally identical to the alchemy flasks in the Burning Crusade in Shattrath City by speaking to Haldor the Compulsive, or if you are an Aldor, or Arcanist Zorith if you are Scryer. Now these marks drop from mobs in Serpent Shrine Cavern, the Eye, the Battle for Mount Hyjal, Black Temple, and Sunwell Plateau. So keep in mind that these flasks can only be used in the raids that they drop. So they cannot be used in raids such as Karazhan, Gruul's Lair, Magtheridon's Lair, or Zul Aman. Now, once again, these flasks are completely identical to TBC alchemy flasks, and they are called Shattrath Flask of Fortification, Shattrath Flask of Pure Death, and so on. I'm not going to read them all. It's basically just throw Shattrath in front of the flask you're looking for. Pretty straightforward. Now, so once again, because of these flasks being available, I think we may actually see a decrease in the demand for flasks despite content becoming more difficult and likely more players looking for flasks. Also in phase 1, we have discovered that there is no Fisherman's Feast. If you go to Barmaid Kylene in Shattrath City, she will not teach you how to cook it. So we can speculate that this will be available in phase 2. So if you have any huge spotted felltail, it will finally have a market, and will surely go up in price as it can finally be used for something other than being an offhand weapon. Now, phase 2 is undoubtedly also going to bring some incredibly powerful weapons into play. Items such as Blood Moon, Storm Herald, Lionheart Executioner, Wicked Edge of the Plains, Dragon Strike, and Blaze Fury. Now, the same can also be said for Bulwark of the Ancient Kings, as well as Embrace of the Twisting Nether. Now, these are all Stage 3 weapons, which require a Nether Vortex. Now, Nether Vortexes are currently not available in Phase 1, but in Phase 2, they will be available to be dropped in Serpent Shrine Cavern and Tempest Keep. Now, in order for these weapons to be upgraded from their Stage 2 version to their Stage 3 version, all you need is a Nether Vortex, so we can assume, of course, that these will become available in Phase 2. However, since Nether Vortex are only going to be BOP initially, as Blizzard has clearly stated, we cannot profit from those Nether Vortexes initially. However, for players who waited until Phase 2 to begin crafting these weapons, the 2 initial versions materials will certainly go up in demand as players rush to create these best-in-slot items. The materials for those items are things like Primal Earth, Primal Air, Primal Might, Eternium bars, Primal Water, Hardened Adamantite bars, Corium bars, Primal Shadow, Felsteel bars, Primal Fire, and Primal Mana. So, stated a little bit more coherently, all the primals you can think of, and some of the more expensive mining bars, such as the ones I just said. So, eventually Primal Nethers can be bought for Badges of Justice as well, so keep that in mind. But, previously in the past, eventually Primal Nethers did sell for quite a bit, I think at least 100 gold. With our inflated economy that we have in World of Warcraft, I'm sure they're probably going to be hundreds once again, if not more. Now, last and most importantly, in my opinion, I believe that we may see in the future a layer removal. Now, why might this happen? Well, I think as players, get bored of the Burning Crusade and perhaps, no longer play, Blizzard may begin doing some type of consolidation where they're removing layers, reducing the number of layers, which basically is going to make everything more scarce. You're going to have more competition. All prices will probably start to go up as supply decreases. Less players are out there farming. So depending on if this happens, maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, I think we can probably see a reverse trend of what we're seeing right now in World of Warcraft, where prices are continuously going down as supply is just going through the roof. As everyone's getting max level, they begin farming. We just have more of everything. More time-gated materials are beginning to populate the auction house. I don't know if this will happen or when it will happen, but it's something to keep in mind that if Blizzard does announce or release a layer removal or reduction, we can certainly see prices start to increase. And so if anywhere in the horizon we start to see this happening, of course, it is a great idea to start stockpiling and waiting for that layer decrease to happen, and then list your items for great profit. That's it for today's video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. My name's Toyhouze. If you like the video, don't forget to give it a like. If you want more World of Warcraft content, don't forget to subscribe. I will see you in the next video. Take Take care.